Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to another edition of Tuition Tuesday. How are we all doing? I am live. It is Tuesday, and I am so looking forward to bringing you this topic tonight. So I'm just going to tag a few of you just to invite you along to the short teaching I have tonight for you guys. And tonight we are going to be talking all about 5 keys to breaking through inner money barriers. Okay, so I'm just welcoming you all here tonight. And if it's your first time here, my name is Nettie and I am the founder of Power Up Coaching Academy, and of course I am the creator of the Dream Business Launchpad, and looking forward to just sharing with you tonight 5 keys to breaking through inner money barriers. So if you are here watching, if you could just pop in a quick hi so I know who's here, who's listening in. And if you're going to be catching this on the replay, then of course what I'd love for you to do is please do just get involved with some of the questions that I might be asking. There's going to be a little bit of some thought processes that you need to take away with you, and some questions that you might need to answer if you are having an issue with this specific problem right now in your life. And who's to say that, none of us need to break through some barriers, in our lives. There is always levels, isn't there, that we need to get through in order to become even more successful. But what I want to kind of start off with tonight is just simply asking you a few questions, all right? And one of the things that's I've been wondering when I was writing this today, I was wondering really, how many of you have gone through the process of wondering yourselves, how comes things aren't really flowing in your life or business the way they ought to? And you are right now desperate for things to change. And if you're listening to this as well, how many of you want more freedom in your life to do the things that you need to so that you can freely fulfill your true purpose and of course your true calling? And how many of you would like to also have more money in your bank account and, of course, in your pocket? That's really what it's all about. Okay, so if you're tuning in, just give me, say hi in the comments so I know who's with me. You might have even asked yourself this particular question. Okay, Lord, when am I going to get a breakthrough? How many times do you think you've asked that specific question in your entire life? And yet, you might find that you are still haven't had the answer to it and you're still waiting. Hey, Sarah, thank you for tuning in, my lovely. Okay, and that's the question you've probably been asking for some time. And if you were anything like me, it was a question that I used to ask all of the time, before I got my breakthroughs, before I understood what was stopping me from getting my breakthroughs. It was a question that I used to ask often. And right now, you're possibly feeling quite fed up with what you see and what you don't see in terms of your progress in your life, or maybe in your business, or your business growth, for example, and just general increase all around. And you know that if you don't take charge of your own economy right now, you're going to be left wondering what is going to be happening in the future because of the current state of the economy right now. Hey, Rini, thank you for tuning in. And probably you're just like many people that I've spoken to and myself, probably sick and tired of depending on the government system, right? And the current economic climate, which is definitely uncertain times. Okay, so maybe you feel like you have no choice, or that you've been backed into a corner and it's totally getting uncomfortable for you. You're feeling it's uneasy, you're feeling restricted, even constricted, and you just want to break free. And I feel you because, that's where I was for a very, very, very long time in my life. And if you're sensing any of those things, I want you to type in the comments, agree. Okay, so as I said, I was exactly the same for years, where I felt like all choice had been taken out of my hands and I'd been backed into a corner, and that was specifically in my career and in my personal finances. And what happened though, by being in those situations, it actually pushed me to make the decision that I couldn't just sit and wait for things to change, or I couldn't just sit and wait and keep things the way that they were. I had to stop things happening to me. And I had to find the strength and, of course, the resilience to fight back and take control. And that's not easy, because when you're backed into a corner, you feel totally helpless. All right. But then as women, and how strong we are, we find that extra piece of resilience to fight back against circumstances. And for me, I decided it was about making a decision that I was going to take responsibility for my financial well-being. Okay. And that's at the point when you've said to yourself, enough is enough. Have you ever been in that position where you've just like, enough is enough? Okay. And this is what I'm talking about today. And really what I decided to do was to bring you a money breakthrough series. So over the next few weeks, I am specifically going to be hitting that subject of money. Okay. So let me just say hello to everyone that's tuning in again. So we've got Renee, Rini, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, my lovely. And we've got Sarah on live with us tonight. And of course, for anyone who is catching this on the replay, and just for the purposes of those of you who might be picking this up and you are new, my name is Nettie, and I am the founder of Power Up Coaching Academy and the creator of the Dream Business Launchpad. And what I'm called to do here is serve faith-filled female coaches and entrepreneurs just like you in the area of life, money, and of course business. Okay. And where I specialize is helping you to launch and leverage a profitable business by creating an expert signature system, showing you how you can charge what you're worth. Again, a money issue, right? Working on your money mindset. Okay. Creating your offers. All these things are related to finance. Okay. Creating your packages, branding and marketing, and of course sales. And I do this and support you all while serving who you love. So that's about your niching, helping you to find the people you actually want to work with, but equally doing the work that you love, honoring God by fulfilling your calling. All right. And I love what I do, guys. One of the things in this kind of work that we do, you have to be in love with what you do. So if you agree that's an important skill, an important thing that you need to possess to carry you through, I want you to put an amen for me in the comments. It's really key that you love what you do, because once there is no kind of packet at the end of your hard day's work because you're still in the building phase, what's going to wake you up in the next morning is going to be the love for what you do. And of course, because you're establishing God's kingdom as well. So tonight's topic, 5 keys to breaking through inner money barriers. So if what I spoke about is where you are, the question is, how can you move from that space to feeling stuck or lack or poverty or uneasy feelings, and maybe drowning in thoughts of uncertainty or fear or scarcity, and actually move towards a place of abundance, a place where we are in perpetual kingdom overflow. I love that. Can someone type that in the comments for me? Perpetual kingdom overflow, or just kingdom overflow, right? So how can you finally grab the bull by the horns and change the narrative in your current money story that you're probably sick and tired of playing over and over again, a bit like a stuck record? All right. And to be honest, this is a story that I played myself for years. And here's the languaging in this. I can't afford it, or it's too expensive, or some version of that kind. And even more importantly, for some of you, your narrative might be, how can you get this business that you are seeking to launch off the ground, right? You might be asking yourself every single day, Lord, I've been trying to be successful, trying to get this business started, but I don't seem to be moving further than the starting point. Or how can I get this business that I'm trying to scale to the next level? All right. So my guidance would be that you need to discover 2 important things. When I was developing this, 2 important things dropped in my spirit. Okay. And the first thing is to understand what you are up against. You've got to understand those roadblocks. You've got to understand what the hindrances and the barriers to you moving forward are. And the second one is to know the why you are up against them and the what you have the power to do to counteract it. Let me just say that one again. The second one is to know why you're up against it. And then, of course, you need to know what power you have in order to counteract them. And for every one of you, it will be different. Okay. Mine is different to your stumbling blocks. Yours isn't the same as your sister's or your brother's or your friend. We all have different internal and external influences to address one step at a time. And that's the only way that we're going to break them down. Would you agree with that? If you could just put a yes in the comments, okay? And sometimes these blocks can be so much deeper than you can imagine or even know. So there's a little homework task at the end of this teaching that I'd like you to take away and do. But first, you need to know what you're up against in the area of your finance. And contrary to popular belief, the subject of money is a very, very big issue. And I mean it. It's a big issue both spiritually and naturally, inside of religion and outside of religion, okay? And we all know that money can be the main cause of conflicts and breakdowns in relationships between close family members, between friends, even business partners and colleagues, okay? And that little piece of plastic, when you think about it, we have plastic money right now, okay? That little piece of plastic, thin note or small coin has immense power, positively and negatively associated with it. And of course, if it's manhandled, it can cause huge devastation on a mass scale, as we know, okay? And history tells us, even present day, lives have been lost because of it. Homes have been broken because of it. So social deprivation because of lack of it. And so many other areas in personal, business and economic life have gone without or been affected for bad, right? But of course, we know the contrary happens. And as always, I say money in good hands, great things happen. When we give money to good people, I like to say it like this because I'm a bit of a feminist. You know, when good women and godly women have money, great things happen, okay? So this really is about the fact that money isn't evil, or only the love of it is, okay? In fact, many great and wonderful things happen when its money is appropriated properly. And if you agree with that, I want you to put a yes in the comments. So I'm not here to dampen your thoughts on this, but I'm bringing you the angle today. In this angle, and why I'm starting with this is because I want to bring some light that we need to be aware of the power of money, and of course the power we have to control the flow of it in and out of our hands, okay? And what we know to be true is that all things were made by God for good originally. But remember, we're also fighting a war that we cannot see, and that being the war of the state of our minds, and of course we're fighting the enemy of our souls. So think of it like this: what we love, we often worship, right? So if we worship God, we're going to be great, we're going to be good. However, if we start to worship things, possessions, cars, houses and items, we're effectively raising up idols in our lives. And we've got to be clear on this. And I'm not saying that these things are bad. I'm not giving them a bad name, but they should never take the space of the giver of the good gifts, okay? But here's the thing: in order to tackle the strongholds and break through inner money barriers, there are 5 keys that I want to give you today. These aren't the only keys, and there's probably a lot more out there, but just for today, I'd like us to just tackle these 5, okay? So firstly, we need to recognize where the strongholds are, or as I like to call it, the leaky places in the area of finances in our lives. And in order to start to address these, I want to give you a list of areas that you should look into and start to clear up so that any money leaks you may have can start to be dealt with. All right. And these are areas that may be causing financial bondage in your life, and you may not even know about it. Right. So the first area is maybe you have been in an argument or a disagreement with family members about money. That is also an area that sometimes overlook. When you are in disagreement about money, it's going to cause you a money leak or a blockage. All right. Number 2, you haven't or don't pay off your credit cards each and every month, because there's so much importance to keeping a commitment. And I'm going to talk about these 5 things when I give them to you later. These are just areas that you need to think about right now where bondages are. But next week, I'm going to focus on commitment and money. All right, just to give you the heads up. And the third area is you get red letters or past due notices a lot, but don't address them. And I'm not joking you. This is so difficult because I used to be in the same position because I just couldn't face it. Years ago, when we used to have this thing called Provident, right? This is where where a man used to come round every Friday night. They'd come round with these extortionate amounts of loans. They're kind of like loan sharks, right? And when you're young, you've got 2 children, your money wasn't that sparse for us at that particular time, and we were living hand to mouth. So it was okay for us so we thought at the time, to borrow at £500. My children must have been about maybe 5 or 6. They're now sort of 30 and 34. Okay, so you can see how far back I'm going here. So this guy used to come around every single week to collect this money, and I tell you, I kid you not, it never seemed like that debt would ever get any smaller. Have you ever been in a position where you just forget to check the small print, and when you realize actually the amount of APR so astronomical that it's almost like that you have got a noose around your neck for life. There is no way that you could potentially continue to pay that off. You're always paying interest. So once I found that leak, then I had to set a plan in to actually deal with that particular situation, rather than what I call sticking it under the carpet, and then that carpet just becomes more lumpier with more things that I haven't dealt with, or more things you haven't dealt with. And this is where some of the leaks in your life could potentially be causing you issues in your finances. Number 4. Okay. You spend money often as emotional therapy, okay? And as women, we do this often, especially when we've had a bad day or we have been in a situation where our emotions are ruling us. We tend to just err on the side of emotional therapy, and it feels great at the time, but it does hit us later on. Or number 5, maybe one or all of these areas, okay, maybe causing you financial bondage in your life. And I'm not asking you to call it out, but here's the truth. We can all probably say yes to one or more of these. And if not now, at some point in our lives. And it's all about being true to yourself. And this is kind of like a self-coaching exercise that I want you to do. The key thing right now is, how are you going to break through your inner money barriers? That's a question that you need to take away and ask yourself, so that we can get to the next level without having to go through cycles of if only, I wish I could, why can't I, what should I do about, repeatedly, like a hamster on a wheel. How many times have you actually said that to you? I only wish I could afford to do this, or I only wish I could afford to do that, right? Now, that's not good languaging for ourselves, because if we are children of the Most High God, we are supposed to be kingdom inheritors, all right? We are supposed to be walking in perpetual overflow and abundance. So what I want to do for this, specifically because I'm dealing with faith-filled females in this group, and anyone who's not really of that persuasion, bear with me in this teaching, because it is so important. Thank you, Sarah. It is such an important point to you, whether you believe them or not, because here's the thing. There are certain spiritual laws that do not have a label on them. They are just spiritual laws, right? So they are going to apply to you whether you are a believer or whether you are not. So I want to bring this dual part training to you over the next few weeks, because I believe that everyone in this group could do with an up-leveling and a breakthrough in the area of finances. And if you agree with me as well, I want you to put a smiley face to say, yes, I agree. And even more importantly, if you're in spirit, you'll also recognize that we're really dealing with a spiritual issue first that needs to be addressed with spiritual weapons. All right. So first, let's get clear on a few principles. And these are taken from the good book. And the first principle is, money itself is not evil. Okay. What is evil is the love of it. Principle number 2. It's God's wish that we should prosper and be in good health, even as our soul prospers. And I could go in on that scripture, but I just want you to take the first part of it right now. It's God's wish that we should prosper. And I'm going to take that in connection with prosperity as financial, as abundance, as overflow, in that context. Number 3, money will be added to anyone who puts the kingdom first. Okay. Matthew 6:33. Number 4, God gives you ways to prosper. Proverbs 8:12. Number 5, God will give you the power to get wealth. Deuteronomy 8:18. And that power just means several ability. That means he gives you the tools, he gives you the physical strength, he gives you the mind to go out and to get wealth. Okay. Number 6, the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. How often have we heard that particular saying? But there are keys to be able to access this, right? And if we don't have the right keys, or we're not using the right keys because we've got all these leaks in our lives and we haven't cleared up certain things, we haven't got rid of the money clutter, then we're not going to be able to access what is rightfully belongs to us. Okay, so here are some things that I think that we need to recognize and of course assess. Is your money an issue? You need to agree or to have that discussion with yourself. Is your money an issue for you right now? Is it causing you physical warfare? Is it causing you stress in your body? Guys, when I talk about physical warfare, this is what I mean. Worry. Okay. Is it causing you anxiety? Is your current situation, maybe you're in debt. Maybe you are, stuck in an agreement that you've just been trying to get out of. Maybe you're maxed out all your credit cards and you just don't know what to do. Or are you in spiritual warfare? And that's, again, warfare of the emotions and, of course, the mindset, okay? What's your current state of affairs spiritually and your relationship with money? Or are you having real economic warfare? All right, so that means your everyday living. Is your everyday living affected because of lack, because of maybe poverty in certain areas? Or let's put it like this, because of leaky areas in your life or in the life of somebody that you may be associated with. And I want to make this point very clear here, because you may be feeling like, money's fine in my life, I have no problems, but there may be somebody that you're associated with or have been associated with previously as to why the abundance, when we're talking about abundance here and when we're talking about overflow, think of it in this respect. When a dam bursts, when a water bursts its riverbanks, right? You have no room to hide, okay? That overflow of water is going to catch you if you are in 200 feet of it, right? That's what I'm talking about when I say water flow. If it's not flowing in your life like that, then there is something that needs to be addressed in any one of those areas that I spoke about before. And here's the other thing. You need to recognize what spirit is attached to it as well. What spirit is attached to either the issue of physical warfare, economic or spiritual, or a money issue. Is it doubt? Is it unbelief? Is it poverty? Is it scarcity? What spirit is attached to this? Okay. And in order for the true manifestation of the kingdom of God to be established in our everyday lives, we need to take a dual approach to clearing up our money houses. And that's what I'm going to call it, clearing up our money houses. Okay. So here are your keys to start you thinking about the process. I'm not going in too long. I'm just going to give you your 5 keys, give you this teaching for food for thought, and we're going to come back next week and tackle the rest. Okay. So your 5 keys today to start thinking the process of breaking through your inner money barriers. Number 1, you need to make a sincere commitment to change your negative feelings and beliefs about money. Okay, so make a sincere commitment to change your negative feelings and beliefs about money. How are you feeling about your money situation right now? These are the questions I'd like you to think about. How are you feeling about your money situation? Why do you feel that way about your money situation? Okay, what do you believe about your money situation right now? And what do you think about your money situation right now? Okay, so those are the questions related to making a sincere commitment, all right, to change your negative feelings and beliefs about money. And we're going to tackle that one again next week. Number 2, stop listening to the negative thoughts in your head. Just because you hear thoughts doesn't mean you have to listen to them. Okay, and this is a big area that I know a lot of people need work, because the thoughts come thick and fast. We call these the fiery darts, okay? And lots of people struggle with this. Even the most super saved Christian struggle with these thoughts, right? And we need to look at what the problem is with regards to blocking our blessings, or what are the barriers in that area. And I'm going to tackle that in week 3. All right. Number 3, creating new thoughts and beliefs. And this is what you need to do. Week 3, create new thoughts and beliefs about money by creating a motto. And we're going to do that in the following week. Okay. Number 4, here's a food for thought. If you had only 6 months to live, what would you do? And this is one where I want you to just go back, even if you have to go back on the question, close your eyes, think about it, and then write your answer down. Okay. Number 5, visualize yourself and your earnings, how you want them to be in 3 years' time. When I'm doing the money mindset program with my clients, this is one of the questions that we ask, because what we want you to do is think about yourself in your future state, not where you are right now, because you can't make decisions for your future where you are right now. Okay. It's important that you start to make decisions about your finances, about your business, about your life, your spiritual, everything from where you want to be. But this one is specifically about your earnings. So visualize yourself and your earnings, how you want them to be in 3 years' time, and not from where you are right now. And my final one is, you must make sure that you pray into the positives in your life right now, things that are going really well for you. Pray into the areas where you have things sorted out. Thank God for them. And of course, pray against everything negative that you might need to uncover during this process, and ask somebody to covenant prayer with you, because, you know, when you come into agreement with somebody, the prayers are more powerful, because the area of finance, as I mentioned before, is so spiritual that sometimes trying to tackle it alone can be very, very, very difficult. All right. So that's what I want to leave with you for today. And I want to just thank you, Renee, Sarah, and everyone else that's going to be tuning in on the replay. I hope you've enjoyed this part 1. I look forward to bringing you part 2 of the Money Breakthrough series. And I'm just going to ask you a little favor. What you need to do is invite a friend if you know they need to be in this group, if you know they need to hear this teaching. And if you have any issues that this has brought up for you, and you'd like to talk to me personally about this, about your situation and how you can get support, feel free, direct message me or book yourself into my calendar. And the address is bit.ly/coach with Nettie. And I'd love for you to join me for part 2, where we're going to be breaking down key number 1, commitments and money. All right, my lovelies, God bless you and stay well. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care. Bye-bye.